Hey, welcome back, everybody. Sarcasm Speaks, Jared and Bob here. I was just saying this right before I hit the record button, but I am starting to go on a heater this season in the PGA betting. Obviously, this is how things work. Now that I've said it, I will come back to reality. Um, but
You have been hot one out of the one last weeks.
yeah, that is true. That is true. I am 1-0 if you count my record for weeks just last week. Although technically I was 3-1 this week. But I was plus 6.5 units. So I hit on I only did top 20s. I've really only been doing top 20 so far. After the year that last year was, especially early in the season last year, we had such random fucking guys winning tournaments. I was like, I'm not gonna play the game, right? I'm not doing that. I'm not wasting money on, because some guys do that, right? They'll take, you know, the shotgun approach and they'll just take like 8 or 9 guys every week just to win the tournament. And it's like, okay, yeah, I mean, that sometimes works out well until you hit a year like last year, right? Where you had guys that were winning were like 120 to 1, 72 to 1, 63 to 1. Like there were so many huge long shots that were winning tournaments. I would say early. I would say before the Masters last year. Um, which had such random guys and such random long shots. Like that approach doesn't work, right? Because typically the way it works, right? Again, this isn't a rule across the board. But usually with these guys, when they're taking 7, 8, 9 guys outright, they'll do like they sprinkle, right? Like so on the higher guys, right, or I guess lower, however you want to look at it. The more favorited guys is probably the best way to explain it. Um, they might only take one, two of those guys, right? They somewhere along that, you know, depending on Scotty Scheffler, if he's playing, he's 4 to 1, right? So call it from 4 to 1 to 15 to 1. That's kind of typically like your favorite range. They may only have 1 or 2 guys in that range, and then they'll have 6 guys, longer than 15 to 1. Um, so again, yeah, I mean, if you really only need to hit maybe 2 or 3 of those in a season, right? 2, 3 guys at, 35 to 1, 41 to 1, something like that. And it kind of will cover you for the year. But again, you run into times where it's like eh, golf kind of got goofy last year. So, like, how are you going to know which 120 to 1 odds guy to bet on? Because that's just impossible, right? Like you're not gonna know, right? Like it's literally a prayer. When you're betting on a guy to win a tournament that's 65 to 1 odds, you're like, yeah, I mean, hopefully, right? And that's one of those two guys they'll I forget the term. It's not profit sharing, but it's like unit sharing, is that what it's called or something? Like they're not going to bet a full unit on everything, right? They might bet a full unit on the favorite, right, who's 6 to 1, but then the guy that's 30 to 1, they'll bet like a third of a unit, right? And then the guy that's like 120 to 1, they'll bet like 0.15 of a unit, right? Because the thought being the odds are longer, so you can bet less and win more type of deal. But again, like that's just so hard when you bet on golf. So I guess there's a long way of saying this year I was like, I'm just gonna focus on top 20 bets.
And
But
I
I mean, I got crushed
refuse
last
to
year.
believe that anyone did well last year because the randomness at the beginning, then Scotty Scheffler winning 7 or 8, and
Yeah.
Schauffele winning 2 major, like they're just really because a lot of these guys, it's the same guy. That's all the same guys with the same approach. They don't like taking Schauffele and Scheffler every week.
Right. Right. It's not a
Well,
profitable
when
strategy.
they end up winning a bunch,
Yeah.
and when they don't, it's all random dudes. You end up getting shelled. Like if in a season you get like Minwoo Lee winning one, Cam Young winning one, Wyndham Clark winning one, um, Finau Snakes won. Justin Thomas when he's in like if he wins like a signature event,
Yeah,
dudes will profit if the top 15 guys start notching wins.
right.
No one wins when Joe Highsmith wins the Honda. It's not even the Honda
The
anymore.
cognizant. Yeah.
Do you know who Joe Highsmith is?
No idea.
He's a lefty that wears a bucket hat. He played at Pepperdine. One time I watched him play in college.
Lefty.
That's how I know who he is.
Yeah.
But Jake Knapp, like someone might have had him. Who is he going toe to toe with? I don't even know. It doesn't matter. But um, yeah. I mean, if uh Brian Campbell, the Chicago Blackhawks
Yeah.
defenseman, was that the guy
Yeah.
who won in Mexico?
Yeah. Yeah. He did last week.
So if Brian Campbell and Joe Highsmith are winning events, I'm sorry, you're not hitting those guys.
Yeah.
Like the fact
Yeah.
that Ian Mack almost hit that Patrick Rogers bet was crazy.
Yeah. That
But
was pretty
Patrick
nuts.
Rogers,
He's kind of a guy, right? On
well,
the,
he at least Patrick Rogers, he was good at Stanford. He was the
yeah.
number one amateur in the world, and he has been on the PGA Tour for a long time. So it's like
He's
if
a
he
guy,
wins, it's not so out of left field.
he's one of my favorite DraftKings guys on an off week because he feasts on those like weird, goofy off week events, right? Like like a Mexico Open or the Cognizant when it's not a signature event or like the Puerto Rico Open. Like I always have Patrick Rogers in my DraftKings lineup for any of those events because I know he's going to give you a top 20 in those events. So like Patrick Rogers is at least a guy that like I am aware of, right? Joe's Highsmith, I have no fucking idea who that was. Brian Campbell, no clue. Like you said,
So
I
that's the
was a
thing.
Blackhawks defenseman.
Brian
Like
Campbell, man, dude, like I didn't even know who he was.
even the other guy, Poltergeist, whatever the fuck his name
Oh,
is,
I know him.
I had no idea
Like
who he
Pot
was.
Geeter.
Yeah. The only thing
Also,
I knew
that guy's
about him is
listed
he
at
literally
6'6".
hits it a mile.
You saw that dude, right?
Yeah.
He's listed 6'0", 190. That dude does not weigh less than 240.
Yeah.
No fucking way. If he's 6 feet,
Yeah.
that dude does not weigh less than 240.
Yeah.
He is fucking put together. And he's fat, but he is
Yeah.
fucking put together. Like his legs are huge.
Yeah. Yeah. So I just pulled it up. Last year in 2024, the winners, I'll read all the winners prior to the Masters, and I'll let you know if it's a signature event. So obviously, the Century is a sig. That was Chris Kirk. Okay, he's a name, right? Like that's
Yeah, he's a guy,
he's
but
won on tour before.
him winning the
That was his
Century
sixth tour
is
win.
that's a little out of. I could see some people having him potentially because he could have been like 80, 100, 120,
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah. So first sig of the year, Chris Kirk wins the Century. All right. After that, Grayson Murray.
No one
Okay.
had him.
Week after that, Nick Dunlap, who was an amateur.
No one had him.
Week after that was the Farmers, Matthew Pavon.
I
The
would
week,
I would find it hard to believe that anyone
yeah.
had him.
Week after that was a SIG. That was Pebble Beach. That was Wyndham Clark. Hey, what do you know? A signature event.
So
Bigger name wins.
everyone ended up having him. Well, he was also so that week he was like 80 to 1 or something. They
Yeah.
mispriced him.
I mean, he also
It was also
won.
50
It was
50 full
only,
holes.
yeah, I was going to say it was only 3 rounds, but regardless. So next week, the Wasted Open, Nick Taylor, right? Now, say what you want. Nick Taylor is talented. That was his fourth win on tour,
I guys would have had him.
but he's not a huge name, right? He was probably in the, you know, 40,
Yeah, but
50
see,
range.
with him maybe higher. The gamblers would have had him though because he's won before, he's won recently, so he always does something statistically well.
Yeah.
And they would have looked at Scottsdale like it's a little bit of an open field.
Yeah.
So like kinda almost anyone can win that thing.
So then the following week was a SIG. That was the Genesis, and that was Hideki. Okay, here we go. We got a name at a SIG. Week after that, Mexico Open, Jake Knapp.
Jake Knapp.
Week after that, the Cognizant, Austin Eckroat. Week after that
Oklahoma State.
was a SIG. That was the Arnold Palmer, the API. Scotty Scheffler wins that one. All right. Another SIG, another big name. The week after that, what actually the same week, it's a dual week as the API, the Puerto Rico Open, Bryce Garnett, right? And then now obviously after that was the Masters. So I mean I can keep going without
There's
including
no
the
need.
SIGs, but you're looking at the week after the Masters was Peter Malnati, Steven Yeager, Akshay Bhatia, right? So like really it was oh no, the Masters that was for the Masters. I was looking at the players, sorry. Um so yeah, the Valspar, Peter Malnati. Texas Children's Open, that was Steven Yeager. Then the week before the Masters was the Valero, that was Akshay Bhatia. So that actually does take you up to the Masters. So any non-SIG event prior to the Masters last year, you had one, two, three, four, five out of the three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, 10. So five out of the 10 winners, it was their first PGA Tour win. Grayson Murray was his second PGA Tour win, if you want to, go that far, as well as the second PGA Tour win for Bryce Garnett and Peter Malnati. So eight, and Akshay Bhatia, that was his second too. So
Yeah.
nine out of the 10 winners prior to the Masters in a non-signature event was either their first or second win on tour.
Yeah, and even
Like, how do you bet on that?
so I
How
think
are
for
you supposed to
me,
bet on that?
it's got to go back to 2023 for me, where I was just getting drilled with maybe it was 22. I don't know. But it was like Scotty Scheffler, Sam Burns, like it was just the same dudes always winning.
Yeah,
And then when they moved to the signature event model, it's like how do you pick? They're all good.
right,
Like no one can sneak up. And then when you have the non-signature events, well, now some of these guys that play pretty well but fly under the radar, they don't fly under the radar anymore.
right.
They're right there. So yeah, I mean, even I was taking a bunch of top 20s, but even now it's like I haven't even been taking top 20. I haven't even been betting golf.
Yeah,
The signature events are they're hard because it's all right there out in front of you, and the other events are way too random.
yeah. So, yeah, like I said, that's a long way of saying I've only been betting top 20s this year. And my current record, I mean, obviously, like today, like this weekend, I went 3-1 plus 6.5 units. But on the season, I'm 20 and 22. So under 500, but it doesn't matter because I'm betting top 20. So I am up 18.05 units.
Did you hit an outright?
No,
You are plus 18 units on that?
yeah.
That's interesting.
Well, I'm not taking favorites to top 20. I'm taking guys that are like 4-1 or 2.5 to 1 or, you know, 2 and 3/4 to 1, right? Like that was who did I have this week? Johnny Vegas, but he missed the cut. So, but he was plus 275. But so like this week, I hit on um, Putnam at 4-1. He was 4-1 to top 20.
So
Like,
I haven't heard from him in a long time.
and I hit Luke Clanton to top 20, and that was plus 220. Right. So like I've hit a lot of guys. So like last week at the Mexico Open, I hit Chan Kim, who was plus 275. Nikolai Højgaard was plus 188. I got shellacked at the Genesis, but that was a goofy event because it was signature, but it was also back at Torrey. It wasn't at Riviera. It was just it was a weird one. But like at the WM, I hit Mav McNeely at 2-1 to top 20. I hit Hoagie at 2-1 at Pebble Beach. Henley was 150. So like I've hit a lot of these guys that are, I hit JT Poston at 2-1 at the Amex. I hit Eric Cole at the Sony Open at plus 260, right? Keegan Bradley was plus 120. So like I've been hitting these guys at pretty close to 2 to 1 odds.
Okay, so I guess I know you don't do a unit on each, but if it
No, I
was
do. I'll bet a full unit on,
you always risk a unit.
yeah, on the plus money odds. If something is like if I bet like Justin Thomas to top 20 and it's minus 110, I'll pay the juice. Like I'll put like 1.1
Okay.
units on it. But
Yeah, okay. So then if your average like a 2 to 1 hit, 20 at 2 to 1 would get you 40 minus the 20, yeah, minus the 22. There you have it.
yeah. But like this week I hit Sepp Straka, who was plus 125, Luke Clanton was plus 220, and then Andrew Putnam was 4 to 1. So
Andrew Putnam, he won some event and fucking drove me crazy.
but yeah, I mean, I think I might potentially be somewhat back betting on golf. I also got to start taking a look at lacrosse too. Now that I think we have 3 weeks of the season.
Yeah,
Um,
it's 3 weeks or more. I was looking, I couldn't find anything for this weekend.
yeah,
It
it's too
just
hard. It's already difficult to bet, right? Like what parameters you want to look at. I can't confidently look at a game and even guess, right? Like, yeah, confidently guess, right? Like, I can't even fathom doing that without at least 3 weeks of statistics. Like, it was like a couple weeks ago. It was just way too early for me to know anything. Like some of the teams had played like 3 games. I'm like, I don't know anything after 3 games, right? Like, fuck, you're just guessing at that point. Which I mean, I know betting is guessing to a degree, but it's guessing with information backed guessing, I guess.
how it went today. Yeah, because I was gonna say even today, um, I looked into the games, and it just seemed like the matchups were either tight amongst two terrible teams or tight amongst two like pretty good teams.
Yeah,
And then anything that didn't fit that mold, now it's like a 5.5, 6 goal spread, and it's like Jesus Christ, like I don't fucking know.
yeah. I'd be curious to look. I don't think I'm going to have the time to actually look, but I'd be curious to find out the over under when it's two terrible teams in a tight game. I would guess that it's probably more likely to go over when you have two bad teams playing each other. Because I feel like with the bad teams, the total might be somewhere around like 22 and a half, 23 and a half. Um, and I feel like those shitty teams end up being like, you know, 15 to 12, 17 to 13, something like that.
Well, I mean, like anything though, it depends on how they play because like Queens UMass Lowell was 12-11,
Yeah. So that
but Air
probably
Air Air
writes right
Force
on the
Marist
number.
was 23-8.
Yeah.
So, and that's the thing is like I didn't see much between in that game, 23-8.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I also don't follow the sport enough
Well, that's why
to
I think I need some
know
games because I don't
to
know
know
what
who
is
the teams are. Right? Like I
and
can't sit here and be like, "Oh yeah, fucking Tulane has a senior attackman that's just an absolute fucking stud. Like he's the guy." Like I don't know that. Like I have no fucking idea. Right? It's not like football, right? Where I follow it closely enough to know that, someone like a Jalen Royals, right, who is the wide receiver for Utah, well, Utah State, actually, sorry, the blue Utah team. Um, I think he's going to be a nasty wide receiver. Like, I just think he's going to be good, right? But like, he's a guy that's on a team wherever he gets drafted. Be like, oh yeah, Jalen Royals, like he's going to be good. Like, just look out for him. I don't know that about college lacrosse. I have no fucking idea. I have no idea
Even
who these
like,
people are.
and then the other piece with that is with the prevalence of the transfer portal, you don't know how that hits a sport like lacrosse.
It's true too. Yeah, yeah. So, but yeah, I think I'm probably ready to start sinking my teeth
It's
into
time. It's
lacrosse.
time. There's enough here.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's fun to bet on. I mean, I got what was I at one point? 8-0 last season?
Yeah, you started hot, and then I probably just went 50-50 the rest of the way. But
Yeah,
it does seem like so far, it does seem like the good teams have been kind of beating up on each other. The other thing too is like the Ivies don't start till like way later. So like right now, it's like some of these teams have 6 games, and like the Ivies only have 3.
yeah,
So it's like Cornell can show up, kick the ever living shit out of fucking Syracuse or something, and you
right.
go, ooh, Cornell, like that might be something.
Yeah,
And then they go and play Duke and lose. You don't know.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Like I also, like I said too, not that I don't even know players, but I don't even know programs anymore. Like Syracuse lacrosse used to mean something, but like I don't know if it still does.
It does, but it's like Alabama football. It still means something. It doesn't mean they're going to beat everybody.
Right, right,
And like, I know Notre Dame last year, they won it all and they had whatever, like they had the best player in lacrosse, but I'm pretty sure his supporting cast was pretty good too, and they're still there. It's like, so like that's the thing you got to check sometimes.
yeah.
Who was on the roster last year?
They
What
have
did
the
that
the
look like?
Tewaaraton Trophy winner.
Sure.
I guess Taylor Tewaaraton is who the trophy is named after. Their MVP trophy.
Sounds great. I don't know.
Yeah.
Cunty Chris knows this shit. Because he that's the other thing too is what he knows like a team like like a team like Penn State you got to
Yeah.
be careful with because they're Big Ten. Now Big Ten's a real conference, but Big Ten's a weird conference for lacrosse
Right.
because it doesn't include the Ivies, it doesn't include the ACC teams, it doesn't include your Mid-Atlantic like semi good teams like. You just have to kind of tread lightly because you don't know if like Ohio State is any good
Right.
or whatever. Now Penn State they have a legit goal scorer. I did see that.
Yeah.
And he was there last year. He's back. Um, but yeah, I mean, like sometimes when push comes to shove, if they got to play Notre Dame, like they probably lose by 4.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, historically, Penn State lacrosse has been pretty good. Didn't who the fuck played there? Oh, Chris Hogan, right? Didn't he
Did
play
he
like
did he play Penn State lacrosse?
I
I thought he went to some random ass school.
was it Monmouth?
Yeah, I was gonna say, didn't he? Did he play what 1 year?
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. Um, let me see. Chris Hogan went to, yeah, he graduated from Monmouth in 2010.
Oh, so it was the opposite. So he started at Penn State and then finished playing football at Monmouth.
Okay. Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did play Penn State lacrosse. Yeah.
People forget.
People do forget. People forget to cover Chris Hogan on the field.
Yeah, forget, chose not to, whatever.
Yeah. But yeah, um, betting. It's fun. Um, all right.
Saying no betting this weekend though.
No, no, because we have
Or
Tampa.
we gotta get him in.
Yeah, that's true. There's no sports betting in Florida. There's no
Well,
sports
it's
betting
it's
in California either, which I
it's
found
hard
out last.
rock bet only.
Yeah. California has nothing. Um, so I found that out. That was one of those too where like when I bet on the Cognizant this weekend, like I flew home Wednesday right? I got in Wednesday night and I had to like fire off bets at like, 9 o'clock on Wednesday night before the tournament on Thursday because I couldn't bet in California. So, but yeah, we get to go watch the Bruins get shellacked on Saturday. That's going to be fun. Who's going to get shelled more, Vinny or the Bruins?
Funniest thing is Derek doesn't know Vinny.
Oh, really? They've never met?
No.
Wow, that's funny. Paths have never crossed. Yeah, that's going to be fun. I mean, he's gonna fit right in. Derek is basically one of us. So he's just
Yeah, I think Chris was just like, wait till you see this kid.
yeah. So that'll be fun. Where Eber City?
I believe it would be pronounced Ebor, but
Ebor.
I haven't fact checked that under any translation or anything.
We got any good cigar bars down there?
I imagine they have to. That was part of what their whole
Yeah, because it's
industry
a it's
kind
a
of was.
cigar city, right? Isn't that like their whole shtick?
I mean, I don't know if the factories and warehouses are still there, but that was, yeah, I mean, the Cuban population and cigars, like that's kind of in a nutshell what you would kind of think of.
Yeah. Do we need to do 2 episodes?
I think we should probably do two on Tuesday.
Okay. Yeah, we'll do two Tuesday
That way
then.
we don't have to try and um just I mean Sunday's gonna be a shit show. We get back, everyone's got shit to do,
Yeah. Yeah, 6 a.m. flight back.
losing an hour.
Yeah, that's true too. We turn the clocks forward Saturday, right?
Mm.
Saturday night.
Yep,
Yeah, that's gonna be fun.
pretty cool.
Sleep on the plane. We'll be fine. I took Monday off too. I was
Sleeping
like, I'm not
fucking dead.
I'm not doing that. Not dealing with work the day after.
Yep,
Um,
we don't get that luxury.
yeah, no. You don't,
Well, I
unfortunately.
don't have the 6 a.m. group on Monday.
That's nice. Does Chris?
Yep, sure does.
Sick. Stroll in, still reeking like stale beer.
Well, I mean, if this is the thing though, if you can't, so yeah, getting on the plane, like travel always does make it hard to like get it back. That like is true, especially for me. Um, like I never drink enough water. I'm usually eating shit,
Yeah,
and then like yes, obviously it is a stressor, but yeah, I mean, if you can't put forth like a halfway decent performance, that means you probably just drank on Sunday too.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's a relatively quick flight, at least. It's what, 3 hours, 2.5, 3 hours, something like that.
Yeah, I can't imagine it's anything more than like three plus or minus, I don't know, 10 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny now, like flying cross country to California. It's like, oh yeah, it's only 3 hour flight. That's easy. It's nothing. Like I'm used to like a 6.5 hour flight.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the only thing that like, because New Orleans is three almost, it's sneaky. It's like almost
It's
four.
almost 4, yeah.
And Naples is like three and a half, I think.
Yeah,
Um, and it's like, because when I was younger, I was always like, because I like sitting in the window. So I'm always like, well, don't drink too much because you don't want to have to get up and piss during the flight.
yeah,
It's only 3.5 hours, dude. Like, relax.
yeah,
But it's like, if you don't drink all morning, well, then you get home.
right.
We land at, get into a car by 10 a.m. half hour ish home. 10:30. It's like, okay, you've been up since 3 and now you haven't even had a drop of water yet. Like that shit
Yeah,
doesn't work.
right, right. I haven't even looked. Is the weather? I bet you the weather's gonna suck. It's probably gonna rain.
Mhm.
It's probably gonna be like 50. I haven't even looked. Um, but Tampa, let's see. Um, Saturday, Friday, right? Friday, Saturday,
Today,
Sunday.
Saturday.
Oh, Saturday's gonna be 81.
Man, that's so
Let's
bad.
go.
They don't have seasons down there.
Yeah, that's tough.
It's awful.
Yeah, which I'll get to that a little bit more on my final thought too. But first, we have to take a loser lap in the middle of the show here. We didn't lead with this. We led with sports betting. But we got two people actually died since the last time we recorded. I forgot it's been a while because I was in California last week. Um, Gene Hackman, he died, which shout out to Nick. He actually had him last year. So I went back in the archives and I looked. I had Gene Hackman in 2021. He was on my list.
That was
Uh,
another thing. When I heard he died, I'm like, we definitely had him in the past. I didn't know if we had him this year. Of
yeah, and then Nick had him on his list in 2024,
course.
and he died in 2025. That one's kind of strange. They're like still kind of taking a look into it. I
Oh,
mean, he.
dude, the 9 a.m. crew at the gym they're gonna get it all figured out.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, they're gonna send a detective. They're
Oh
gonna
no, they're
take
gonna
him.
do it themselves.
Oh, okay, good, good.
Yeah, they've already got their opinions, their thoughts, their notes. Like they've got it. Yeah, it's in good hands.
Yeah, yeah. It wasn't a gas leak. But yeah, I mean, he was 95. He was dead in like one room. And then in another room, his wife, I don't know how old his wife was. Maybe she was in her 70s or 80s or something. Um, she was dead. And then their dog was dead too. But then they had two other dogs that were still alive. So it was like the wife and the dog were dead in one room. Hackman was dead in another room. And then the two other dogs were just running around outside. So kind of strange when it first immediately came out. Police said they didn't they didn't suspect any foul play. So my
Mhm.
first thought was gas leak, right? And then like a day later, they were like, "Nah, we're gonna dig into this a little bit more. Something
Yeah,
seems
there's for
fishy
sure
here."
some foul play.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know if I heard. Funny enough, on the Ross Patterson Revolution, Ross and Jesse were talking about it, and Ross was like, "Yeah, it's probably pills." Right, like he might have died in the
Well,
other
didn't they
room.
find pills?
Oh, I don't know, maybe.
I think they found pills.
Yeah. So, I mean, this was last week too. So Ross was like, yeah, I mean, if I had to guess, he probably just died because he's 95. The wife, like, was like, I don't really want to kind of live without him. So I'm just going to take a bunch of pills and then just die, and then dropped some pills, and the dog ate those, and the dog died too. And I was like, well, hey,
Might
that.
want to bring in. I'll have you know what? I'll have 9 a.m. contact Ross because it sounds like he knows what the fuck happened.
Yeah, yeah. Have the 9 a.m. crew give Ross a call. Head to Dripping Springs, Texas. Knock on his door. But yeah, I mean, I heard him say that, and I was like, well, yeah, I mean that sounds pretty plausible. Like he probably just died again because he's 95, right? And that's what happens when people are in their 90s. And the wife was just like, yeah, I'm good. I think I'm good. And unfortunately, after she died, she dropped some pills, and then the one of the dogs ate him. So yeah, that's one of them. The other one was Michelle Trachtenberg,
So I have no idea who this person is. Michaela,
who,
she showed me, she told me. I have no idea
yeah,
who this person.
she was only 39. I didn't see. admittedly enough, I didn't look into it. I just saw that she died. And then I wrote her name down and then that was it. I never looked after that. I mean, I'm assuming it was drugs. If you're 39 and you drop dead at 39, it's most likely drugs. I'd say, you know, at least a 51% chance. There's probably some sort of
Mm.
overdose.
Could also be a general suicide, right?
Yeah, I guess that's fair too. That's a fair point.
So maybe like a 30, 34.
Yeah,
No, because
34% chance.
be like a 40, 40, 20% or so.
Yeah. Yeah.
Without knowing the detail. Well, that's obviously without knowing the details of the situation.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would say if someone drops dead at 39, it was either drugs or a suicide, and that's probably going to cover you a
Probably most of the
solid
time.
80, 90% of the time. Um, to allow for, the car crash, right? The whatever,
Yeah, but
the
that's not drop dead. So that's the difference, though. That's not
yeah, no,
drop dead.
that's true too. That's not
That's
drop
not
dead.
succumb to a long time secret illness. That's drop dead.
Right, right. Yeah. Yeah, 39-year-olds don't just drop dead.
Seizure in the sleep. That's a good one, though.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Um, Kid we went to high school with died
That
that
happened to a
way.
lot of people in the class of '09.
Yeah.
And when I say a lot, I probably three, but for
Yeah, I mean
one high
that's a
school class,
lot.
that's a ton.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, so yeah, she was Harriet the Spy. And I know
Yeah, I
you
see. I
said you
don't
have
know.
no
I,
idea
I
who that
don't.
is.
I
It was
don't
a
know what that
it
is.
was a Nickelodeon movie. It was
Yep.
a good movie. I enjoyed it when I was a kid.
Yep. No clue.
Um,
She was also on a popular show that I never watched.
yeah, that sounds right. The
I
only
don't
thing
know
I
which
knew her in
one.
was Harriet the Spy. And I know she was in some other show. Um, but I just don't know which one. Let's see, Michelle Trachtenberg. Gossip Girl.
Never watched it.
Yeah, yeah, I never watched that. I did watch Harriet the Spy though. I said it was a good movie. Oh geez. Okay. Well, I just found this. Um, the office of the chief medical examiner in New York City, where Trachtenberg was found dead early on Wednesday, ruled both the cause and manner of death as undetermined, according to a statement shared with
We're
USA
in the
Today.
20%.
So then they go on to say undetermined can mean either that there was inadequate information to assess how a person died or that the information was conflicting, with equal amounts supporting a negative specific manner of death, such as natural or accidental. The Trachtenberg family declined an autopsy. So, I mean, she could have slipped and fell and hit her head and died, right? Like the yeah, undetermined just means they couldn't figure out whether it was natural or accidental.
I don't really know who this person is, so I just don't care. How isn't important,
Yeah,
frankly.
yeah, that's fair.
We'll see if
Uh,
9 a.m. wants to get on that too.
see how they feel about Michelle Trachtenberg. How old is what's the average age of the 9 a.m. class?
They all drive white SUVs.
Yeah, what's the average age though? I don't
I
fucking know. Like, I mean, that just tells me that they're white women, probably mostly blonde.
Actually, that would not be correct. I don't know. They kind of hit most of the marks. I mean, no one's like 60,
Yeah.
but
So then they probably don't know
I don't think
who
anyone's in their 30s anymore.
I don't they probably don't know who Trachtenberg is then. Because that's more of like a R gener like someone who
So
is
yeah, so
probably older
one girl might know.
than 45 probably would have no idea who Michelle Trachtenberg is.
I'll put them on it. We need answers.
All right. So then one more thing before we wrap this up. Um, we have our first death from measles in the United States since 2015. And it was in Texas. Now, I forget who said it, right? But we talk
Like a
about
good
it all the
thing.
time. Yeah, never let a tragedy go unpoliticized, right? Something like that. You know, however that saying goes. The amount of people that were just going buck wild over this was absurd, right? Everyone's like, see, they were already blaming RFK Jr. They were like, RFK Jr.'s been in office for 2 weeks and we have people dying from the measles already. And I wanted to be like, you guys are legitimately fucking retarded. That literally like that Vinny's new thing. I don't know if you follow him on
It's
Twitter.
the
It's called
retard
the
finder on
retard
Twitter.
finder. Yeah, found one.
Found one.
Right? Like anyone that's going to be on Twitter that's gonna be like, "Oh, RFK Jr.'s been in for 2 weeks and we're already got people dying of the measles." Hey, I found one. You're fucking retarded. That's not how that works. Like that I got a good laugh out of that. But like people are just so fucking dumb. Like it's unbelievable. So people are going nuts, right? Everyone's going, "Oh, see, fucking this is why you need to be vaccinated. Vaccines are great. They prevent this, they prevent that." Okay. Yeah. I don't disagree, right? The measles is something that you probably shouldn't have people dying of in modern day, right? Like we have a pretty solid vaccine that gets rid of that. The one part of the story that nobody wants to fucking talk about. Do you want to know who now it was a young kid, right? It was like a teenager or something. Do you want to guess? You won't guess this, but you want to guess something about this person in particular that they belong to a certain group of people?
What are they, Mormon?
Close. Yeah, actually. They were a Mennonite. One of the Mennonites, which is
Oh, they're
basically
like,
like
yeah, they're basically
a
Amish people.
non-Pennsylvania Amish person. That's basically how I look at a Mennonite. If you're in because I think Amish is a sect of Mennonite, Mennonism, or Mennonites are a sect of Amish. I don't know. They're related, right? They're all kind of the same shit. Um, And then what do we know about Mennonites? What do you know about Amish people and Mormons and Jehovah's Witness and all these people? They don't believe in that shit. So you have everyone that's up in arms going like, "Oh my God, the measles is coming back. The fucking morons aren't getting vaccinated. RFK Jr. is ruining everything." Guys, can you just wear a shirt that says "I'm fucking retarded" and like we'll just get past all of this? Because you're failing to recognize that yes, it is unfortunate that a teenager in Texas died of the measles in 2025. Yes, we have a legitimate vaccine that works at preventing this. It shouldn't happen. However, this person belongs to a religious group that doesn't believe in vaccines. It's not like Sally from fucking Middle Texas high school, right? Decided to not get vaccinated and then died of the measles. Like it's a kid that was part of the Mennonites. Like, no one wants to talk about that.
Because why would you let facts ruin a good story?
Yeah, never let facts get in the way of a good story. Like, it could literally happen anywhere. That would be like up here, right? If saying, like, oh, we had a kid died of polio in Massachusetts. Oh, what happened? Well, he was a Jehovah's Witness and all this. Stop right there. I'm good. Jehovah's Witness don't believe in vaccines, right? Like that's fine. That's their religion. They don't believe in chemical medicines. Is it dumb? Probably, yeah. I mean, that's not really for me to decide, right? But like, that's their choice. It's their religion doesn't allow them to do that. That's what they want to do. Okay, fine. Go right ahead. Don't get the vaccine. It's not, like I said, Jesse from fucking Newton North High School. that's protesting getting the vaccine that dies of polio.
I can't believe RFK killed that kid.
Yeah, RFK's killing kids. It's
What an
fucking
asshole.
absurd, man. Like, it's just, it's nuts. It's nuts how dumb people really are and how they're so they're so entrenched in their own thoughts and beliefs that they're willing to take one story and run with it and just turn it into something that it's clearly not.
Well, let's also just take a step back, right? What has happened in the last pretty much 9 years, because that's when Trump first got elected.
Yeah.
And it coincides a little bit with like society today. Unintelligent people have a popular platform now.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's why stuff like this happens because you have unintelligent people that have an agenda. So
Yeah,
then you hear, oh, someone died of measles. Instead of going, how does someone die of measles in 2024?
right.
2025, 2025, sorry.
Yeah.
It's 2025. How does someone die of measles? How the fuck does that happen?
Right.
Uh, when I was doing Stonehill strength and conditioning, they made the NE10 finals and they were going to go play St. A's. St. A's had to cancel the game because of a mumps outbreak. I go, how in 2015 does someone get the fucking mumps?
Yeah.
How is that possible?
Yeah. It's the same vaccine actually, the MMR, measles, mumps, rubella.
So you sit there and you go, how? Like, how does this happen?
Yeah.
And anyone that knows the story goes, oh, dude was a Mennonite. It's like, oh, no shit. Okay. Yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Okay. All right. Makes total sense
But no,
then.
now people need to use this as their fucking political soapbox
Yeah.
because they are not smart people.
And they're lazy. Or I mean,
No,
yeah,
no, they are stupid. It's not
most
even
of them are
laziness. They are
lazy.
stupid. They don't even no, they don't even know. They don't even they can't comprehend.
Well, they're unwilling. What I mean is they're unwilling to look more into the story, right? So, like, not to put us on a high horse, right? As we hop on connotation real quick, like if someone like you or I sees a story where the headline says teenager in Texas dies of measles, right, in 2025, I'm gonna click on it and I'm gonna read and I'm gonna be like you, say, how the fuck does someone die of the measles in 2025? And I'm gonna learn a little bit more and then come to find out it was a Mennonite. So then you're like, oh yeah, okay, no shit, right? But most people don't care enough to learn more. They see the headline and they go, "Bah, bah." They start going nuts and be like, RFK's killing kids. He's been in for 2 weeks and look at this, look at it. We already kids are dying of measles. Like, oh, this is fucking, it's absurd. And it's like, all right, you're just a fucking moron, and you're
But
unwilling or you're unintelligent, right?
no, that's
Like
what it
you're
is. It's
just
a lack of it's
yeah,
100% a lack of intelligence in the inability to critically think.
right,
Because
right,
I'm an idiot. Like I know that.
yeah. That's
But
exactly
like,
what it is, by the way. It's critical thinking skills. Like people lack
no.
critical thinking skills.
And I'm not a smart person. But you people, like, but what's the meme? I'm not nearly smart enough for all of you people to be this stupid.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's that. It's now unintelligent people have found their way into a platform
Yeah,
that is popular because before people used to use religion or it wasn't so easy to get
right.
involved. And like if you spouted off that crazy bullshit at like, the local supermarket, people were like, "Oh fuck. Stay away from fucking
Yeah.
15 Holland Circle over there." Like
Yeah.
a couple whack jobs in that house.
Yeah, yeah.
Um
But yeah, it's the critical thinking skills and it's people unwilling to well or I mean, there's something similar too. I got into this with my mother. Not that we got into it, but
oh
my
God.
mother was here earlier this morning. And she made a comment about all the planes crashing. She was like, oh my God, it's so terrible. Look, I can't believe all the planes are like, it's so bad. I go, is it? like, how do you know? Right? And she's like, well, it's all over the news. And I go, well, you need to stop watching the news because Amy actually made a really good point in a way. She was like, well, it's like an algorithm thing at this point. And it is. The news now knows that plane crashes are going to get people to watch them. So what are they going to do? They're going to keep publicizing plane crashes, right? So I pulled up the statistics from the FAA. And let me see if I can pull them up again real quick. Yeah, so here's the chart. This is a chart from this year with all of the plane crashes with through January and February that have been reported. So in January of 2025, there were 63 plane accidents, right? They're called accidents, not because not all of them are going to crash and fucking explode, right? 63. Okay, well, the average in January going back to 2015, starting with 2024, is 80, 89, 82, 74, 89, 77, 83, 83, 87, 90. There were
So there's been less
60,
plane crashes.
there were 63 in January.
Way less.
That's way less.
Plane
That's like
crashes are down.
20% less, actually. So February. Now I don't know when this was posted. Um, 6 days ago. So February wasn't done
It wasn't
yet,
over yet.
but with call it 6 days left in February, there were 35 accidents reported. Again, going back to 2015, 93, 82, 99, 90, 96, 68, 91, 94, 77, 68. There were 35 and call it three a day, right? For 6 days. What is that? Three times six is 18 plus 35. That's 53.
You know what?
Call it.
Here's a hot take on this topic
Yeah.
because you've made your point. Here's a hot take. I hope they actually publicize plane crashes more because statistics have shown that everyone thinks. Now we're back to the unintelligent people that can't critically think.
Right.
They all think planes are crashing all over the place, when in the reality, plane crashes are actually down.
Correct.
Now, tragedies are probably up because, like, thinking back, it's like there was that plane that disappeared overseas one time. There was that plane that crashed into the Hudson. Tom Hanks had to save the day, I think, right?
Yeah, yeah. Tom Hanks
Um,
saved that plane.
thank God for Tom Hanks.
Yeah, he does a lot. He saves planes. He saved that ship,
Pirates.
right? Like from pirates. I mean, Tom Hanks is the guy you want when you have a disaster going on. He lived on an
Um,
island for like 6 months all by himself with just a
yeah, he
volleyball.
survived with the volleyball. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Um, and that's the thing is if the stupid people think that planes are crashing all over the place, then good, they can stay out of the airport.
Yeah. Yeah. Stay out of my way because I'm there all the time.
I'm
But
not,
like,
but the
but
few
like,
times that I am,
so realistically, right? I think I saw a different statistic one time that said the average is it's like 2 to 3 accidents per day, right? It happens with plane accidents, right? And again, and I don't know what constitutes an accident, but it's not like hit the ground and explode, right? Like it's just whatever, right? Like maybe an engine fails or the landing gear breaks or something like that. It's not like a massive where the entire fucking plane dies, right? Like that's not considered an accident, but on average, it's 2 to 3 per day, right? So in a 30-day month on average, that's about 90 accidents per month, right? Both months so far this year have been much less than that. And I mean, I don't know. The other thing too is okay, 2 to 3 per day, right? On average. How many flights are there? There's thousands of flights across the United States. And that's a statistic that's the US only. It's not worldwide. So two to three per day in the US. There are thousands of flights that happen every single day in the United States. There's 3 accidents per day. It's safer to be in a plane than it is to be in a car.
Actually, statistically, you're more likely to die on the way to the airport, like getting caught under a gas truck. That's the worst.
Yeah, yeah,
We
true.
were taught that in 1994, 1995.
Was that
See,
Super
and this
Troopers?
because no, it's Dumb and Dumber. When
Oh
he's
yeah.
dude, he's the limo driver.
Oh yeah, 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 shit, yes, yeah. I was like, I know that quote from somewhere.
And this is what see, this is another piece. The people who lack critical thinking and unintelligence, they also don't know their history.
Right,
So they've never seen Dumb and Dumber. They don't know that statistically you're more likely to die on the way to the airport.
right.
People are talking about that right now with sprinting because obviously it's combine time. They're like, oh, people, you don't know your history. And it's like, it really exposes you as a coach. I'm like, you don't know your history. It really exposes you as a moron,
Yeah, yeah,
unrelated to sprinting.
yeah. I mean, not to go down that whole rabbit hole, but I hate the NFL Combine. I think it's fucking stupid. The amount of people that argue over a guy's arm length. It's like, well, his arms are only 32 and 7/8 inches. There's only six NFL tackles that have arms that are shorter than 33 inches. Oh, can you believe this guy's only got 32 and 7/8 inches long arm? Dude, I don't give a fuck how long some guy's arms are that plays tackle in the NFL. Can he block? Can he block? Can he play? Right? I don't give a shit. They just have fucking 33-inch arm. Like, what? That's stupid. That's the dumbest shit ever. So, yeah. I hate the NFL Combine. I think it's fucking stupid. I love that every year now, more and more guys that are like at the top of the draft are just like, yeah, I'm not going to participate.
A lot of guys say that they go, if you're a top guy, the combine can only hurt you.
Yeah, yeah.
They go do your medicals, do whatever. But dude,
Do
so
do the interviews, right?
the
Like
other thing
talk to
too
the
is so
teams.
I've been listening a little bit to some guys that are more on like the speed side of things lately. It's I don't know, I found a nice little like group that I kind of want to hear them speak a little bit more about it. There's one dude, not only did he on a podcast, he crushed the NFL combine. He goes the 40 numbers, he goes they're made up. He goes none of them. He goes they go in and they fix them based
Yeah,
on like what they think, what they do, whatever. But like, there's no system to fixing them. He goes, so I sent 20 guys and 13 of them got their numbers fixed. Slower, obviously.
right.
He's like, but Worthy, he goes, I looked at the splits. He goes, Worthy didn't run what he ran, but it goes up on the screen unofficially. He's running around the stadium. You know, he's getting interviewed. Whatever. Oh, you're gonna take that away now?
Right.
No, they're not gonna take it away.
Right.
But he didn't run that.
Right.
And then there are guys that did, and they took it, and they did take it away. There,
Right.
he goes, there's 100% guys that beat it.
Right.
Um, but yeah, same dude said too. Yeah, we had a guy, you know, he was probably like, oh, whatever, I don't know, whatever his draft stock was, but found out that he was misdiagnosed. Sprained MCL was actually a torn ACL. He
Ooh.
goes, so our entire combine strategy was make sure you don't get an MRI. That's it. That was the combine prep. The rest of it did not matter. Do not get an MRI under
Yeah.
any circumstances, under anything.
Yeah.
Nothing. Whatever strategy you need to take to not get imaging done on that knee is what you have to do. It's like, oh well, do we need to worry about the 40? Sure don't. Because none of it matters. And if there's an image of that knee, you are fucked.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
Yeah, and it's like it's funny because like for some of these guys, and that's the thing is like you don't have to like that, you know, arm length, hand length, whatever. But the problem is what the media says usually isn't what matters. It's what the NFL teams think. So if NFL teams sit there and go, I don't want a guy, I do not want an offensive lineman that runs slower than X and has arms shorter than Y. And you sit there and go, well, what if the guy can play? They go, I don't care. I'm not using a first round pick on a guy that is slower than X and has arms shorter than Y.
Right.
I'm not doing it as an NFL general manager.
Right.
And if I'm wrong, the other team will look like they found the diamond in the rough.
Yeah,
And that's what like a lot of these guys have to, I mean, do the dance because that's what the NFL says.
right, right. Yeah, I mean, the big thing was obviously who I'm referencing is Will Campbell, who is the offensive tackle from LSU, who is a stud, right? Seemingly, by all accounts. Um, played left tackle in the SEC, played against the best competition in college football, only let up, I think, 2 sacks all season. Um, but now guys are crushing him for having 32 and 7/8 inch arms. They're not 33 inches at least. So everyone is like going nuts. But then I did see one person reply to all that and said, yeah, back in whatever, 2017, I forget what year it was. Mike Vrabel and John Robinson drafted Peter Skoronski, who was a left tackle or right tackle, I think, at that time. Um, or they moved him to right tackle, whatever, it doesn't matter. Who only had 32 and 7/8 inch arms. And they loved him. And they took him, I think, in the middle of the first round. He was their pick.
Yeah,
Peter Skoronski?
was he on BC?
Um,
Could
I
be
don't
100% made up.
I don't think so. I want to say he was like a Minnesota, like some Midwestern. Um, let's see. Peter Skoronsky. Tennessee. Nope, that's Tennessee Titans. Where did he go to college? Yeah, Northwestern.
Oh,
Yeah.
he's Northwestern.
Yeah. I knew it was somewhere in the Midwest, like a Midwestern school. So, yeah, he was the 11th overall pick in 2023. So yeah, that was Vrabel's last year then with the team. That was his last draft. But yeah, he took Skoronski with the 11th overall pick, and he had shorter arms. So he's doing just fine.
Yeah, NFL Combine's a dirty game, but so that's the thing that sucks is these guys need the combine to like make the money that they need to make and get picked where they should get picked. But it's all useless
Yeah.
at some point.
I mean, ultimately, too, again, we don't have to spend a ton of time on this because everyone is like, oh, you're going to draft him. And what if he ends up having to play guard? I look at that and I say, good. This team offensive line sucks. But like, if you draft Will Campbell, right, and he ends up being a guard and he's good, I don't care. They need offensive linemen,
I'll
right?
say
Like,
I only care because they literally still need a body at left tackle.
yeah. Well, I
It's
mean, it sounds like they're gonna do everything they can to sign Ronnie Staley. Like they're gonna back up the fucking Brinks truck for Ronnie Staley. So if he doesn't re-sign with the Ravens, which it doesn't appear that he is, but they do technically still have another week. I think free agency starts when we get back from Tampa that Sunday. Either that
Is
Sunday or
that when the
Monday.
legal tampering starts, but they can't actually
Yeah.
sign anybody yet?
Yeah, the legal tampering. Yeah, it's the 10th. So I think that is Monday. Legal tampering is the 10th to the 12th, and then a free agency officially starts on the 12th.
Stupid.
Yeah, that's the dumbest shit ever. Um, but yeah, I mean, if they can get Ronnie Staley, I don't know.
I think it's Ronnie Stanley.
Yeah, Ronnie Stanley. It was Joe Staley was the old left tackle for the 49ers. Um, yeah, I mean, if they can get Stanley, I'm good. I'm good with that, right? I mean,
Changes the draft completely.
yeah, it does. At that point, well, so also too, that's what um they interviewed Vrabel at the combine a couple days ago, and they asked him, and he was like, "Listen, I'm paraphrasing, obviously, but he was basically what he was saying was the team wants to be aggressive in free agency and fill all the holes that they need to fill in free agency so that when it comes to the draft, they can just let the board come to them, right? Like what Vrabel had said is we don't want to go into the draft being like, we need this guy to fall to us at 4. And I was like, hey, that's a novel fucking concept, right? Like, so they want to go out and they want to fill the holes in free agency. So, I mean, that remains to be seen if it can be done, right? I mean, I know this team isn't really a destination or hasn't been lately, but Drake May is someone that people seem to like. I know Mike Vrabel is a coach that people really respect. So maybe between Drake May and Mike Vrabel, they can get some guys here. I mean, maybe, be a draw again, but who knows?
I think the owner's a problem.
Yeah, the owner is for sure a problem.
I also think that they have too many holes to fill, but it's a
Yeah,
nice idea.
yeah,
Well, it's too many holes to fill just through free agency.
right, right. But yeah, I mean, I've seen Milton Williams, the D tackle from Philly, right? So I mean, if they can get Ronnie Stanley and Milton Williams, and maybe I've seen them kind of be linked to Charvarius Ward, the corner from the Niners. Um, I think that's a really good start, right? I think if they can fill those 3 holes, um, I think that's a good spot to be, and then just kind of go from there. But on that note, you want to wrap this up?
We can wrap this up.
All
Do I
right.
have my sheet up? No, obviously I don't. Should only take a second. Uh, it's only like we do this all the time. I have officially turned my garage pizzeria into also a golf club workshop. Changed the grip for the first time.
Nice.
So I went to Joe and Lee's. I had a lesson, and so I bought a new wedge like last year, and I never used it. So I needed to put a grip on it, and just so happened they didn't have the grip that I wanted. And that would have meant that one club out of them all would have had a different grip than the rest of the fucking
No,
clubs.
I
So
can't. You can't do that.
I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
He goes, yeah. He goes, you can go over there and look and like pick out something else. I go, no, because I'm not doing my whole bag this year.
Right.
So I'm like, all right, well, I have all the materials I need except the grip. So I guess we are doing my own. So went to PGA Superstore, bought the grips. Then I forgot that my clubs aren't here; they're at work. So I did just the wedge. I'll do my driver some other time. Um, it's relatively easy. Getting the old tape off was the most time consuming,
I can see that.
and not making a complete mess of the process is also a little was a little bit underrated. I had fucking solvent everywhere, but one out of one, it's on. I haven't taken a full swing with it, so hopefully it
Hopefully it stays
stays.
on.
That's the plan.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's that difficult.
It's
I like
not.
it's just tape and glue and stick it back on.
It's tape, it's solvent. You slide it on, let it dry.
Yeah.
It's actually a very simple process. So what I meant by that was, but like you have to get the old tape off. So it's like
Right. And I know that's the hardest.
that's a little
That's
annoying.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
then like when I do my driver, that's gonna be I gotta be like you can't just scrape with a fucking utility knife. So
Right.
heat it up, get it up, whatever it takes.
Yeah.
So that's what takes me the most time. And then you're like, yeah, so obviously I've never done it before, so it's like I don't quite know how much solvent to use or not use. Use way too much. Made a fucking mess. But grip is on.
Yeah. All right.
And
Oh.
I say that I made a mess. It's like I did it all over a barrel because that's like kind of how it works. But like the grip was like soaked, so I'm trying to push it on, but I'm sliding like that's what I'm talking about.
Right, right, right. Yeah, so you're a grip guy now. All right, cool. So when you're done with that, you can just change out all my grips. Cool. Thanks.
Yeah, yeah. Buy the grips,
Yeah,
bring them to
yeah,
me, bring me your clubs, and for a novel fee, I'll do them.
yeah. All right. So my final thought is also golf related. So last week I was in both LA and San Diego. I flew into LA, went down to Newport Beach, then drove down to San Diego. Um, and while I was in San Diego, I had found out from my buddy, who again is also my boss. One of the times he went out there, he said, "You got to go try and play Torrey Pines." And I was like, "How?" Like, dude, I checked. Like the tee times book out like 3 months in advance. And he goes, "You go into the clubhouse." He goes, "Over in the corner of the clubhouse, there's a little stand that has a QR code on it." He goes, "You scan the QR code, it's a wait list." He goes, "You put your name on the wait list, and depending on what time of day it is," he was like, "I've done it at 6 a.m. and I'm out on the tee box by 7." He goes, "I did it at noon one day and I was out by like 2:30." I was like, "All right, it's like it's not terrible." So you scan the QR code, you put yourself on the wait list, and then you just wait. So I worked in the morning on Tuesday. I went in a little early. I mean, we talked about this. Like my body's on East Coast time, so like I'm up at fucking 4:30, 5 o'clock, on the West Coast, and I do what I got to do. I start working. I go down. I get breakfast. I head into the office, whatever. I hang out there for a little bit, and I left the office probably maybe around like noon ish. So I went to the golf course, which, by the way, fucking impossible to try and find anywhere to park for a 36 hole golf course. Just based on that, right? Like, never mind that it's a pro stop, right? Like they have a pro PGA Tour event there every single year, right? Like it's a 36 hole golf course. There's no fucking parking. It is the smallest fucking parking lot for a course that size. So, and that reputable. So I finally found a spot. I walk over, I hang out in the clubhouse for a little bit. And by this point, it's probably like 12:30-ish, 12:40. And I find the QR code. So I scan it, I throw my name on it, and I'm 18th on the list. And I go, "Ah, Jesus Christ, like that today's not the day." And I go, it's probably fine. I mean, it's kind of foggy out, like it's whatever. Um, so I go, I'm in the pro shop, I'm walking around, I buy a couple t-shirts and a hat, and I go and grab lunch somewhere. So I'm sitting at a restaurant, right, just eating. I finish up and I go and I walk to the car and I get back in my car and I refresh the page and I'm now like sixth in line. And I'm like, okay, all right. Like it's probably 1:30-ish, 1:45. So I start driving, and I had to like to get back to my hotel, I have to drive past Torrey anyway. And when I'm about 10 minutes away from Torrey, I get a text that says, "Oh, this is Torrey Pines. Congratulations, you're next in line. Please respond to this. You have 5 minutes." I'm like, "Oh shit." And I like change my GPS to Torrey Pines and I go, "I'm like 11 minutes out. Like I'm not gonna fucking make it." So I reply yes, right? And I'm like, whatever. And then I'm like, "Oh, I'm not gonna make it. They're gonna give my spot away." And then I try to like rationalize, whatever the fuck the word is, with myself, being like, "That's fine. Like, if I don't play, I'm gonna come back again. Like, it's not the end of the world. Like, it's a foggy day. Like, it's whatever." But then I'm like, "But I really want to fucking play Torrey Pines. Like, I just really want to play." Um, so I pull in. Takes me a while to find a parking spot again. So I finally get the spot. I'm like, so that's the other thing too. I brought my golf shoes with me on the off chance that like I was actually going to try and play. So while I'm in the car driving from lunch to the course, every red light that I'm stopped at, I'm trying to take my shoes off and put my golf shoes on because I'm trying to like reduce the amount of time it takes like to get in here because I don't want them to give my spot away. So I pull in, I park, I like Olympic speed walk over to the clubhouse and I go, "Hey, I'm here. Like I got a text, I had a tea time. Like is it still there?" I was like, "It took me a little long to get here. I hit every red light on the road." And the guy was like, "Yeah, yeah, you're good. I got you for the 2:24 tea time." It was like 2:18. And I was like, "All right, sick." So I go, "I need rentals." And he just laughs. He goes, "Okay, that's over there at that desk." And I was like, "Oh, fuck." So I go over, I get the rentals, right? They hand me two slips, one slip for the rental clubs, one slip for the golf cart. Um, the balls are included in the rental fee. And I had to buy a glove because I forgot to bring my glove. And I was like, fuck, okay. So I get that. I go down. They're like, oh, the cart shack is underneath the thing. So out the door, down the stairs, take a left. So I run down, I give them the clubs, I give them the tickets, they hand me the clubs. They're like, yeah, you can grab cart number 139 or whatever. Literally throw everything in there, drive up to the tee. The starter's like, "Are you mellow?" And I go, "Yes, yes, sir." He goes, "You guys are up now." I'm like, all right, cool. So I literally pull up to the tee, tie my shoes, look at my rental clubs, and go, okay, all right, they're Titleist T100s. Because I asked for stiff flex. They were like, "Oh, we got regular and stiff," and I was like, "I'll just take the stiff, right? Like, I'm not doing that with the regulars." Um, I mean, because I know my clubs are stiff, but they're the T300s, so I knew I was probably not going to get that same setup. So I got the T100s. It's fine, no big deal, whatever. Um, Played with them first shot off the tee, absolute fucking duck hook. Like, so I played the North course. Because when you scan the QR code, you can pick a course or you can just say first available. And I went first available. So I played the North course. I didn't play the South, which is obviously where the pros play their final rounds for their tournament. Um, Absolute duck hook onto whatever fairway was next to us, like across that fairway. And I was like, oh, Jesus Christ, we're off to a terrible start. Um, Struggled a little bit out of the gate, couldn't get off the tee. My irons and my short game was surprisingly pretty good. I drained a couple really long putts. One was to save bogey, another one was to make par. Um, the guys I were playing with were really cool. Just typical like California guys. There was one guy was a very stereotypical like bro California, talking to me about how like he needed to like leave California because like it's getting fucking ruined. And he was like, "What's it like in New England?" He's like, "I was thinking about Rhode Island." And I was like, "Dude," I go, "Do you like the weather here?" And I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Yeah, it's beautiful." I go, "You don't want to live in Rhode Island." He goes, "Well, I mean, I know it's called the Ocean State, so like I'm just looking for like beaches and stuff." And this guy's probably like, in his 50s, right? Because he's talking about retiring and leaving California because he just can't do it anymore. And I was like, "Yeah, I mean, Rhode Island's pretty fucking expensive. Um, and it's cold, like 6 months out of the year." I go, "You probably don't want to go there." And he was like, "Yeah, I guess." He goes, "Maybe I'll go to like South Carolina." And I go, "Yeah, you probably should. You should go to South Carolina." Because he was just a cool guy, right? He was like, "I'm not trying to, have this lavish life." He's like, "I'm just going to sell my house here." He goes, "I want to move to some small little podunk town, retire, play golf all the time." He goes, "I want to keep to myself. I don't want to talk to anybody." He's like, I just want to like live my retired life, right?" And he's like, "If I live in South Carolina and I take a month and come back to California, right, in like April every year, or like I want to travel." He goes, "That's my big thing." He goes, "I just want a tiny little house somewhere in South Carolina or wherever." And I go, "Yeah, dude, just do that." Guys, yeah, I heard it's called the Ocean State. There's a lot like it sounds like a good place. No, dude, it's not. It's cold as fuck 6 months out of the year. Like just don't do it. Um, but yeah, like I said, cool guys, right? The other two guys I played with were really nice. Just kind of chatting it up the whole time. One of the guys plays that course a lot. He was like giving me basically caddying for me, right? Being like, oh, you want to try and be on the left side off of this tee because it gives you a better angle. And he's like, this green, it plays this way. So if you want to, long is fine, but whatever. Like, he was just being a nice guy, like being friendly about it, not being a dick either. So, um, I really enjoyed it. Like
That's
again,
odd. He must not have had enough time to speak to you.
yeah, yeah. Um, the only thing is you hear the jokes, right? Or you hear the sayings about the marine layer out on those coastal courses. Dude, that marine layer is no fucking joke. We had to wrap it up after 12 holes. We called it, right? So I played okay. Like I said, I struggled off the tee for the first like 4 holes. Um, I drove the green on 7, whatever the short par four is. Um,
I don't know the North
yeah,
at
then
all.
I don't know the North course as well as I know the South, but whatever the short par four is, I drove the green. It was like 260, I think, and I ended up actually landing on the green. I saw my divot on the green, and I was off the back. Dude, the rough is no fucking joke. It is thick. Like it is just different. Because that was one of the things one of the guys was asking me. He was like, "Yeah, you play a lot, back in Massachusetts." And I was like, "I mean, I try to, here and there." He goes, "All right, so like, what's it like?" And I go, "Dude, it is nothing like this. Like this rough is just like the club just dies." I go, even if they grow out the rough a little bit, like it's not as dense as this. Like, and I go, at least the courses I usually play at. And I go, you can find conditions like this in the state, but like I'm not gonna go and play at one of those courses all the time, right? Like these guys play Torrey Pines like all the fucking time. Because I think if you're a resident, um, it's only like $30 or $40 or something like that.
Okay,
Like
so I
it's
do think it's more than that, but yes, it is cheap.
yeah, yeah.
I thought it was like 65, 80.
Yeah, maybe that's what. Maybe it was only 30 for 9 if you're a resident. Um, but yeah, it's cheap. And I go, I'm not playing a course like this all the time. Um, but yeah, the rough was tough. Again, played surprisingly pretty well. I kept it together. I shot a 9 over on the front nine. And then the fog, the marine layer started coming in and the sun on the 10th hole. I lost 2 balls on the 10th hole because you literally tee off and the ball goes into the sun. We all did, all 4 of us. We lost our tee shots. We couldn't find them. Um, just because it just you couldn't watch the ball because the sun was legit right there. Um, and then the marine layer starts coming in and we're like, okay, all right, whatever. It's kind of getting foggy. The 11th hole was fucking bad. That was the picture that I sent you where I was standing on one side of the green, the guys I was playing with were on the other side of the green, and I couldn't see beyond them. Like you could literally only see to the edge of the green, and then you couldn't see the fog. So then, like the bro guy that wants to move to South Carolina left after the 11th hole. He was like, "Yeah, I'm done, guys." He goes, "I'll see you later. It was just nice meeting all you guys. Have fun." So we go over to the 12th hole, which is a par three, and you literally can't see past the tee box. And the one guy was like, "All right." He goes, see this edge of the tee box? He goes, if you follow that straight for about 155 yards, he goes, that's the right edge of the green. So anything to the left of that is okay. He goes, but you don't want to be too far left because that's dead. And I go, okay, all right. So the three of us tee off into the fog. We have no idea where our balls went. It took us like probably 6, 7 minutes. We found all three of them. They were all short right of the green, but we found all the balls. We played the 12th hole, and then we were all just like, all right, yeah, we're done here. Like you literally can't see anything. Um, so I only got to play 12 holes on the North Course, but still a good time, right? Still a really like just a beautiful course. Again, the rough was tough. The fairways were pristine, right? Like I know you talked about that when you about Pebble, right? When they say a tight lie, things like that. Like it's just different. Like it's just different. Like I don't know what kind of grass is at Torrey. I don't know if it's paspalum or if it's like fucking, what's the other one? Zoysia, whatever the fuck it's called that they have on the West Coast.
Maybe it's Infusion Zoysia.
Yeah, like I have no idea what type of grass is out there, but it's just different. And it was
Same way
just,
hard. Like
yeah, yeah,
like if you like hit down, it like kind of thumbs back at you.
yeah.
Can I find grass?
I don't know. What's the one? Kukua? Is that what it is? Kukua
Oh
rough?
yeah.
Kikuya, yeah. I think that's in Hawaii. I think Hawaii has Kikuya. Um,
Kikuya, Bent, Poana.
oh, it is Kikuya at Torrey.
Uh, Kikuya is the main grass in the rough on the south. It's used in the fairways and tees of both. Um, the greens were bent.
Okay. The greens were really nice. Um
I think, do we have bent? We might have bent.
they were whatever you want, like undulating, right? Like they were pretty legit. Like they were fast too. Not like, oh my God, I can't fucking putt fast, but they were quick, right? They were a lot quicker than anything, really I'm used to around here. Um, but yeah, yeah, it was just I would play again, right? Obviously, but it was a really nice course. Again, just through 12 holes in the fog on the North Course with that marine layer. I did ask them, I go, is this normal? And they were like, I mean, it happens. They were like, it usually happens around June. It was like, usually June is when the marine layer is the worst. Like it just never goes away. And I was like, oh, okay, all right, it's good to know, I guess. But they
Wait,
said
as long as you're
it does happen that, you'll get days where it's just the marine layer just does not burn off. But it's only like on the coast because if as soon as you go like 3 miles inland, it's like beautiful blue skies and sun. It's just kind of nuts. It's weather.
weather outside is weather.
Yeah. So shout out to Torrey Pines. Um, yeah, be there. It's kind of cool, right? To be able to play a course where the tour goes. I know
Yeah,
you've
generally
you've
speaking,
played you've played a lot more of those than I have, but to play
I
a
think I've
place
only
like
played.
Kapalua and now Torrey, because I've never played TPC Boston.
Well, oh
Uh,
yeah. So I've played TPC. Um,
you played Kiowa,
Kiowa,
Pebble.
Pebble. Those are the big ones. I don't think I'm missing anything. I mean, Myopia. They played the U.S. Open there like way back in the
Yeah,
day,
in like 1920.
like 1896. Um, I think that's it though.
Yeah. Have you ever played Cromwell?
No,
No.
I don't think I've played golf in Connecticut. I try to not to go to Connecticut if I don't have to.
Yeah,
And I try not to drive through it, but usually that's only one way to New Jersey.
true. So yeah, that's gonna do it. So thanks for watching. If you're on YouTube, don't forget to hit subscribe up above, hit the thumbs up down below. Subscribe if you're an audio only guy. You can get us on Instagram at Sarcasm Speaks Pod. Twitter is Sarcasm_speaks. Facebook is Sarcasm Speaks. Check out the show notes. Support the sponsors. Support the show. And until next time, good night, everyone.